So let's not really run past that right quick, but you said your son at 21 years old was a six-figure earner sitting at the computer trading.
Yes.
And people hear that, and the first thing they say is, "I can't learn that. I can't do that. That's those words you're using. Those are some big words." You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you're telling me that, and I think you all said you had a lady husband that was 85 and 86 years old or something like that.
Absolutely, we do. Because you got to make a decision you want to learn, no matter what it is that you're going to learn. You know, we go to college for, you know, we started this conversation out about college, and people are repping their schools and very excited about them and happy and things of that nature. But I think the behind that is a 4-year minimum commitment that you're going to be there without a promise of a job. And the reality is 87% of people, right? 87% of people, or somewhere around there, I know it fluctuates, are not working in their field. So if you really want to put the spin on it and tell the truth, that's an 87% failure rate, right? Mm-hmm. But we're still going. We're still paying those fees and that tuition, and you're not working in that. So if we really, really look at it and we really, really, you know, dig behind it, is you got to say, yes, I'm willing to learn something, because you committed for 4 years. What is 12 months could change your life?
Mental toughness.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for you. Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
The mental toughness mindset.
I had to go to grow.
Sam C. Martin Luther King.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
All right, so welcome to another episode of Elite Psyche, the Mental Toughness Podcast. Well, it's not podcast anymore. It's a show. Really big show. We're not a pod, we're a show. So, but today, got some special people I want to bring up. You know, normally we interview what we would call elite individuals, the ones who have had success in life. And normally when you have success, that means you've gone through a lot. You know, you have to be mentally tough to win in life. And most of the people that we interview are the ones who kind of tell their story about what they did to get to where they are. And today's going to be a little bit like that also. I got some guys from the BYOB Worldwide Movement that's going to be on today. And I want to talk to those guys about how they got started, what the company is about, all the good stuff. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to bring up Mr. Gerald Rogers, Miss Tasha Dyer, and also Mr. Marvin Green, Coach Green. All right, so let's get started today. I want to talk to you guys about the BYOB Worldwide Movement and what's going on with you guys, and how did you actually get started, all that good stuff. So I'm going to start with Mr. Gerald Rogers and give us your title and just a little bit on how the company actually got started.
So I'm Gerald D. Rogers, the CNO, visionary founder of the Beyond Bank movement. And it was really birthed out of a passion of just teaching people how to really understand how to make money work for themselves. And me having a background in investment banking, commercial real estate development, and having an affinity to the industry of direct sales that we're marketing, I thought it was our point to make sure that like this information has been hidden in plain sight far too long. So being able to teach people how to do exactly what the banks do with our money every single day, understanding how to take advantage of And the foreign exchange market is one major component. I mean, you're talking about $7.5 trillion every single day that the average person has access to. And so we put a platform together to be able to teach them how to make sure money works for them versus the traditional method. All of us were taught how to go work for money. So that was the basis of why we got started. And this is the largest economic empowerment movement in the history of mankind. So we've had the privilege of being behind the veil, understanding this dynamic. So we thought it was our call, our purpose to share this information with families, loved ones, near and afar. So that's the backdrop of the Be Your Own Bank movement.
Okay. And when did you all get started?
We actually started the movement in 2018, and we've advanced where the infrastructure that we put in place as recent as February of 2023. And so now we're actually doing business right now in 15 countries on 4 different continents. So we are a global movement, having fun, challenging people, challenging old mindsets, old paradigms. And the game has been set. We have the rules, we have the blueprint. So now all you have to do is be willing to follow the yellow brick road.
Okay. Give us a little of your background, though. You know, what was the name of that college you attended?
The most prestigious HBC university in the universe, Florida A&M University, the highest of 7 hills. Well, we only put out quality.
Okay.
You know, there are other schools out there, you know, they focus on quantity, but only quality.
Okay. I'll remember that. So what happened after FAMU? What did you do? What
So my initial pursuit of economic empowered wealth was, I had a dream to become a professional NFL football player, and didn't understand at the time that, being a professional athlete is a business, and it's really, you're just a high paid employee. So I did have some free agent tryouts with the Carolina Panthers, the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the CFL, Toronto organized. And at that time, they were actually trying to make inroads to the continental United States with the Birmingham Barracudas. And guess what? They didn't hire me. So
Okay.
It was at that point, I went through a state of depression too, because, you had these,
Right. Growing up,
thinking, but it was a numbers game. It was simply a numbers game, so, and then we just started pursuing, being able to have our degree, it did give us an entry point, but, I didn't want to find myself exchanging time for dollars for the rest of my life and building someone else's dream. So we just started pursuing, anything pertaining to wealth and wealth creation, because that's not in the curriculum at any university.
Right.
And then you look at statistically, 5% of the population, they control 95% of the wealth. So it's because they operate and they use a different recipe. So I just made it my point to understand that recipe and try to share with as many people as possible.
Okay. So you were in real estate and banking and things of that sort before you got here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Dyer.
Yes. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm awesome.
All right. So what's your title? And tell us your story, because I think you're like some kind of big major or something in the military.
Yeah. So I actually am the co-founder of the BYOB movement. And, I actually come from very humble background and beginnings, which is why I'm so passionate about what we do and changing lives. I come from a single parent household. My mother was terminally ill. I'm the oldest. So I'm what I like to consider myself being called a grown child, because there were things that I did that I would not have had to do had my mother not been sick. Worrying if we were going to keep a roof over our head, what we were going to eat for dinner, and those sorts of things I really wanted to shield my siblings from. So my story began, I left and went to college. So I got a little HBCU experience in there as well. Y'all like to joke, but I went to Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta. It actually wasn't financially feasible though. It didn't make sense financially for my family. And that's ultimately how I ended up joining the Army to finish college. And so I enlisted. But somewhere around the beginning of my career and in that those first years of my career is when my mother transitioned. And in that transition, I really began to understand what she had been sharing, the things that she had really wanted us to understand. Because I hear you talk about that foundation all the time, and I can appreciate her for that, because one of the things she used to always tell us is our circumstances don't dictate our reality. She never wanted us to get caught up in where we were financially and what was going on. And she wanted to make sure that didn't define us, that we could strive for better, we would have more. We just had to position ourselves when we had to want it. And so I ended up in the military. I became a field grade officer, not the normal path if you enlist. And I retired as a major in the United States Army. So at my retirement, though, I became a financial advisor. Initially, I was in finance, and then I worked in logistics. I did a lot for debt management, collection, military payroll, all those sort of travel expenses, all of those things for the military and, Germany and the whole, the whole country. But then we transitioned, and that actually was my first niche at the foreign exchange, changing currencies and things of that nature for the government. But ultimately, when I retired, I realized I wanted to get back into that arena, and I became a licensed financial advisor. And what I began to realize really quickly is my clients had to have money already. They had to have money. They had to have resources. I couldn't work with you if you were still trying to figure it out. And that's not where I wanted to be. So I walked away from that. I do have a background in real estate as well, insurance, all of those sorts of things. But I wanted to be in a position where I could pay it forward, because where I was in life, had it not been someone willing to pay it forward, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So I was glad I was in a position to really take advantage of those things and looking for opportunity. And so I just want to be in a position where we present opportunity to where it can be paid forward, and that individuals have opportunity. And so when I actually met Gerald, he explained to me what he wanted to do. We sat down, we had a meeting, and I caught the vision at that moment, and we went to work. I just want to make sure that everybody has a fighting chance. It's up to them to take advantage of it. It's up to them to say, yes, I want it. It's up to them. But if they don't know it's there, then they would never take advantage of it.
So we're not going to let you just jump over that major thing, because how many female majors percentage-wise are in the Army, and especially African American? So can I know you don't know the number. You roundabout.
No, I do know as you climb that ladder, as you climb that political ladder, because it's very political in the military, I do know it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And I began to fight the same way you hear that fight in the civilian world, about, how it narrows and the people out to keep you from progressing. Because I walked into a room, and when I made major, even when the notifications came out and I heard them telling, talking about it at the table, how she make major, But you're not looking at my evaluations where it says, I'm the number one officer that Colonel is ranking. I'm, all of the things I accomplished. When you go home, I'm still at work. I'm fighting for my soldiers. So I earned it. Don't get me wrong, I earned it. But at the same time, you still have to fight all of the naysayers and everybody that doesn't believe that you should achieve because you are African American and because you're a female. No. And you walk into a room with a lot of men that can't handle the fact that you are a determined female that's gonna make it happen regardless. And so,
wow. Did you do any wartime? Were you actually in a?
Yes, I was in Iraq and Kuwait. I was in Iraq. What is that? Back in 90. I want to say in 2000, early 2000, somewhere in the 2000 range. But then I was in 2009, 2010. I was in Kuwait, and what we did in Kuwait is we oversaw the Iraqi drawdown, where we had to account for all the equipment and everything that came out of Iraq. I handled all container management for Kuwait and Egypt. And we did route management for all of the convoys, the gun trucks, all of the things that went up into theater, and we would have to go in as well and make sure, the routes, making sure the soldiers got the proper sleep, food, all of the things that they needed to be successful. But my office, especially me and my supervisor, we were mainly responsible for keeping accountability of all the equipment and everything that came out of Iraq at that time.
Before I move on to Mr. Green here, give us a war story, one scary one that you like. Wow, why am I even over here? Lord have mercy. I should
trying to send me back to counseling.
Yeah, give me I need to hear. Yeah, let me hear one of those.
Well, I have a couple, but I mean, no, the first time, it's two that kind of stick out though. When I first got there, what they do is they put you, when they're taking you in the theater, you get up in the back of these trucks. You can't see anything. You just see things flying overhead. And that's your welcome to Iraq. And as we are driving, as we're driving and everything, of course, you're seeing bullets flying. You seeing things just kind of popping up over your head. And I was laying ruck on my back, kind of laying back with my weapon. And it's just, you just laying there and you just kind of thinking like, what in the world am I doing over here? Why am I here? Because that was that initial. And when I got to the base, my colonel, all the officers, you have to go and have that one-on-one with him. And he put us in a gator, like the little things you see people riding around for fun, the little golf cart looking things. Yeah. We outside the perimeter and we just riding around. And he's driving it fast, but it was like, this is your welcome. This is what we're gonna do. And if we get shot, if we make it past this and you meant to be here, like can we not do that? But as far as combat, the other one that kind of sticks out as far as combat, I'm logistics, I am operations, I am money, finance, right? That's why he put me in a medical company. And don't ask me why. He was like, personnel equipment, that's all you got to worry about. But in that company, I got to see all of the injuries, all of those things. So to actually see someone get shot, to see, when you get the income and the shrapnel metal coming everywhere. And then not only do you see it happen, you see someone lose their life, but, whether it was the Kuwaitis or the Iraqis that are helping, well, not really in Kuwait so much, but the Iraqis who are helping us, and fighting with us, but you also see them trying to save their lives and stuff, and blood and those things already stress me out, but to have to see that and to kind of be in the midst of that, it's a little
wow. Well, I want to send you back, so let's move on to Mr. Green here, my man. My man, Coach Green. I've been knowing Coach Green for quite a while, probably since 2004 or 2005, and he is the guy who actually introduced me to y'all. I'm gonna bring it up in a minute, but Marvin, tell us about your background and your title actually with the company, with BYOB.
Currently, with the BYOB movement, I am the Chief Brand Officer with the movement. First of all, I also want to say just thank you for having me here this afternoon to just kind of be able to share a little bit about what we do and what we're doing and how we're trying to change the lives of people all over the world. I'm originally from Chicago, and in 1988, I had the good fortune of also attending Florida A&M University. It was a great experience. It was an experience that I think about and I'll cherish for the rest of my life. But I came actually I wanted to be a sports agent. I called myself going to school to get a business degree, and I was going to go to law school and eventually represent athletes, primarily Black athletes, who didn't necessarily have the representation that they should have as they go into the professional sports space. And I was fortunate enough, like I said, the business school at Florida A&M University is one of the best in the country. But one of the things that the business school was teaching a lot was about working in the corporate environment. And nothing against corporate, the corporate environment. It just wasn't for me. The suit and ties every single day and trying to kind of navigate that landscape. I wanted to do something different. And so once the sports agency thing took off and it went in a different direction, because you got to be on a hustle and bustle, right? You got to find the athletes, you got to entertain them, you got to, do what you can to try to get them and woo them and all that type of thing. And I wanted to be a family man. I wanted to, have that type of life. And at the time, I thought that, being a family man, trying to be out there in the sports agency space was kind of a conflict of interest, especially some of the places you have to take the athletes, or you had to take the athletes in order to entertain them, right? And,
I know about that.
Right. And so I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. But eventually I was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman at Florida A&M who was in the recreational space. And he talked about a vision of building a recreational facility on our campus. And the long and short of it, we partnered up, and I was fortunate enough to eventually become his associate director. So I worked at Florida A&M University for over 25 years. I was the associate director of recreation. I eventually became the director of student activities, which means I ran for about 4.5 years, every single homecoming, parents' weekend, a parents and family weekend, homecoming parade, Greek life. Anybody that pledged at FAMU for almost 20 plus years, they had to either come through me because I was a part of the Panhellenic Council as the president, Panhellenic Council as the advisor, or I was over Panhell as student activity director. So, just a lot of people that came through FAMU, I had the good fortune of being able to interact with, and I call it some of the movers and shakers. I was also over the Student Government Association, of course, big budgets too, $1 million, $3 million. And then eventually I landed as well in athletics, and I was the associate director of athletics. Now, on top of that, for 18 years, while I did all three of those jobs that I just told you about, I was the men's golf coach. And that was great. I mean, it was great to be able to get involved in a sport that I didn't necessarily grow up playing. I got into that sport later in life. I was 21 years old when I took up golf, and I became a pretty decent golfer pretty fast. I started teaching beginning golf class, and before I knew it, almost 8 years later, I was coaching a team. We were featured on HBO Real Sports with Brian Gumbel about how good our team was. One of our main competitors who happened to be Jackson State University. Eddie Payton at Jackson State, the older brother of Walter Payton, the legendary running back for the Chicago Bears, was the men's golf coach there. And so, just during that time, man, there's just so many experiences that I had as a university administrator, as a university, a Division I golf coach, that kind of led me to the space where, I am now, man. So sports has been my background. The business of sports has been my background, how sports brings people together. And as you get a little bit older, you still don't mind those environments, but you also want to be able to leave a legacy, be able to live a certain type of lifestyle. And that's what kind of brought me a little bit to the network marketing space. I think I saw my first network marketing presentation in 1995. It was an Amway presentation. I'll never forget it. And I remember the person saying 6 to get 4 to get 2. Never forget it. 6 to get 4 to get 2. And talking about residual income. If you got residual bills, why not have residual income? Do something one time and get paid for it over and over again. And that started the journey into network marketing. So I always knew that you had to have something coming in on top of your linear income, which was my day-to-day job. You want to have something coming in a residual income space. And then eventually, as you get older, you need to have some passive income. And so when I was fortunate enough to reconnect with Gerald Rogers, and I know we'll probably talk a little bit more about that, he happens to be from the class of 88 at Florida A&M University as well. And so when we reconnected probably in 2020, and I say reconnected, just kind of having some conversations, he started talking more about passive income. How do you make your money make money? And that's something I necessarily had never focused on, because I knew how to work for money. I knew a little bit about residual income as far as in the network marketing space, but I didn't necessarily know how to have my money make money. And that was the piece that keep me in. there.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you mentioned golf, because I remember when I first attended Jackson State, I got there early. I was on the 6th floor where my room was, and I'm walking down the hall, and I see these two guys with golf clubs and golf shirts. And I'm like, Jackson State, y'all got a golf team? I'm like, I never thought that HBCU would have a golf team. I don't know why. I don't know why I was thinking that, but yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow. Now you also, Marvin, you've done so much, man. I guess you just want to leave that out, but you also, unless I missed it, with the ladies flag football.
Yeah, I started a women's flag football team while I was at FAMU. We had pretty decent success over the years. We won 10 national championships. We represented the United States, out of the country, one of the best teams in America. And now to see it coming to fruition with the 2028 the LA Olympics, they're going to have flag football there.
I saw that.
To see this thing come full circle, it's great. But all I wanted to do at the time, and Gerald knows, he was literally at the beginning of that. He actually saw it as well. We were just trying to get the ladies who came to see the men play, try to get them involved in intramural flag football. That was the whole premise. So we said, if we can put the girls against the girls and the dorms against the dorms, they like to say residence halls now. You're not supposed to use the word dorms, but the residence halls against the residence halls. And so we had Patty Foote playing, Cropper, Wheatley, and Truth, and McGuinn Diamond playing, Porkenhorn, et cetera. And Gerald remember those. And that's really what started it. And from that, those girls are playing each other. Eventually, I got a all-star team, and the all-star team started traveling, started winning state championships, and then eventually they started winning national championships. So I guess I've been fortunate enough, man, I'm a coach at heart. I didn't realize that, but I guess you say coaches are teachers, teachers are coaches. I'm a coach's heart, and anytime I believe in something, I just want to learn it, be able to teach it, and share it with other people, and then have those people be successful so that they can be successful even without me. And I think that's the sign of a good coach, is how good is someone when you're not around.
Right. That's true.
That's the key.
True. All right, so let's get to this, man. I know I want to ask, most of these questions will be for any of y'all to grab. But the first one, I want to go to Mr. Rogers with this one, because when Gerald, you told me about the company, and I went out, you know how people do their research at Google. That's all, like that's research. But I was Googling, and I put in BYOB, and man, all this stuff came up, and I said, dang, I didn't put worldwide movement. I didn't put any. I just put BYOB. And so one of the questions I asked you initially, Gerald, if you're going to build this huge company, why stick with that name? Because everybody's out here using it. And you had a great answer for it, but I want the world to hear what's your answer for that. Because, like I said, when I started Googling, I had a lady tell me that her insurance company kind of used that. And what made you want to use that term, and why continue?
Now, one of the reasons why we initially wanted to use the term is it's all about provoking thought. So, when people think about BYOB, depending upon your zip code, you think bring your own bottle,
right?
Bring
your own booze,
bring your own booze. So it led to us giving the ability to reach all types of people, no matter where they come from. It's just one of those things, and when you're able to at least capture the attention of people, that gives them that inquisitiveness to kind of have a deeper conversation. And it's kind of like having a good movie trailer. When you see a movie, the movie it's a trailer at 25, 40 seconds to kind of say, hey, I need to go see that. So that was the reason why we came up with BYOB, because we wanted to create an environment where when we're sharing this information, normally there's so much anxiety when it comes to money, because those conversations are not held in our households, our places of fellowship, and quite honestly, it's not even taught on our college campuses, right? So it's just getting people to have that additional conversation, because if you really understand money, right, And when we're talking about education, if we're honest with ourselves, most people don't actually go to college to get educated. It's under the pretense that if I get this degree, it's going to translate to money. So, we want to create an atmosphere that allows people just to, hey, let me take a deeper dive.
Okay. So now, if a person wants to look you up, what are they looking for? Is it BYOB Movement Worldwide? Is it BYOB? What is it? How do they find out more?
They're going to find BYOBMovementWorldwide.com is how you catch up with us. BYOBMovementWorldwide.com, because we worldwide.
Okay.
See?
I got
we
you.
worldwide, you see?
Okay. Be your own bank. Now, Ms. Dyer, tell us about this Be Your Own Bank. And when we say that, or say that term, what does that really mean? Mr. Rogers said it, but break it down to like what Denzel say. Talk to me like a third grader. What does that really mean?
It's really you changing the way you think. We're on here talking about college experiences, HBCU, right? We're talking about that traditional method, and then we think about going where we can actually, like, we go to school, we get a job, right? And we are paid based on what someone feeds us. And the reality is, if I'm going to be my own bank truly, then that means I understand how money really works. That means that I know how to create money. That means my money's working for me. And so it's really a whole mindset shift when you think about it, because you can turn the financial markets, when you're talking about 7.5 trillion, and when it was at 6.6, and before that was at like 5.3. So this market is growing, it's moving, and we speak for that's ultimately where we started from. And we offer other services and things now, but we're a full wealth services movement. But we started with that Forex, and then that's where we created the name BYOB, Be Your Own Bank. And that's really about you making the market your personal ATM machine, learning a skill set, and the thing about it is, yes, you have to learn the skill set, but when you learn the skill set, it really shifts and it pays you for life. When I think about, I was just talking to my son, and he is now a funded trader again. And, he's done another challenge, and where he's a funded trader for, again, let me just say it that way. But, he's 23 now, but at 21, he became a six-figure trader just by learning his skill set. And so his challenges that he faces in life is different. It's not financial, right? And you think about when we were in our early 20s, we talking about when we were in college, our whole choice was, or our thought process, is it ramen noodles or a few chicken wings? Right. I got to share with my roommate.
Right.
That's not his story. That's not his testimony. That's not his struggle. His is about, what do I want to do with my life? And, because we were doing things to try to find resources, find money, find those things. But his is really something different, right? His is something different. And that's really, when you think about becoming your own bank, to be able to watch your own legacy change in your eyes, and not, we're doing this so my grandkids and their kids can have something to really change it. It's happening today. And that's really what that means.
So you all are showing people how to actually trade in the foreign stock. Is it foreign?
Both, actually.
Okay.
The foreign exchange market. And the foreign exchange market, actually, just for understanding and clarity, that's a worldwide market. Okay. And that's currency being exchanged. As currency is exchanged, there are fees and transactions and different things that go into that. And you're not buying the currency and then selling the currency. You're analyzing the market and profiting on the movement of that currency. That's what we're teaching. And just for understanding, this is not something new. Banks have been doing this. And the first bank that was established for foreign exchange trading, not just for banking, but there was a bank established specifically for this in Amsterdam 500 years ago. So wow. This has been around for a long, long time. Retail traders like us, not banks, we've been able to do this since, the 90s, the late 90s. And so this skill set is here for us now. And that's why our children will be different, where we're learning it And it's something we have to say, yes, I want to learn it, because it wasn't around when we were younger. You know, it wasn't available to us. Let me say us, because it was around. But, it, you know, for myself, for you, for Gerald, for, you know, Coach, for us, it wasn't around then when we were younger, but my children are exposed to it, you see?
Right.
And so, but we also teach stocks and, you know, trading stocks and investing, because we have somebody that teaches that as well. So regardless of your interest, but that's US based, right? That's and it's a smaller market, but that's what most people know. And there's a lot of money in that as well. Options
trading. I was on one of those training classes that is it Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
That's teaching that. Yeah. So let's not really run past that right quick, but you said your son at 21 years old was a six-figure earner sitting at the computer trading.
Yes.
And people hear that, and the first thing they say is, I can't learn that. I can't do that. That's how those words you're using, those are some big words. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you're telling me that, and I think you all said you had a lady husband that was 85 and 86 years old or something.
Absolutely,
like that?
We do.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So it's not about that. It's not about learning anything, because all of us, I think I heard Ms. Dyer say this, right? Before we learn to do anything, someone taught it to us. So you had the capacity to learn anything. I mean, you know, when someone had to teach you how to use the potty, somebody had to teach you how to flush the toilet.
Give my credit. Give me my credit. No.
So obviously, you know, it's not the fact that we can't learn anything. It's the fact that many of us, because of what we've been exposed to, you know, we have to be willing to unlearn something to relearn some things. And that's really what, at the end of the day, I believe personally that if you have a desire, you can be taught anything. If you are physically and mentally at a place where you have a desire. And and I tell people, making money is actually the easiest thing that we all can do, right? And when you decide to want to learn something, then you'll learn it. And fortunately enough, you know, even talking about Ms. Dyer, not only her son, but her 5-year-old granddaughter and her 9-year-old daughter, they understand this skill set now. So we cover the gamut. So you have no excuse unless you choose to remain blind.
Yes.
And it's just to kind of jump in off of what he's saying is, you know, because you got to make a decision you want to learn no matter what it is that you're going to learn. You know, we go to college for, you know, we started this conversation out about college and people are repping their schools and very excited about them and happy and things of that nature. But I think the behind that is a 4-year minimum commitment that you're going to be there without a promise of a job. And the reality is 87% of people, right? 87% of people, somewhere around there, I know it fluctuates, are not working in their field. So if you really want to put the spin on it and tell the truth, that's an 87% failure rate, right? But we're still going. We're still paying those fees and that tuition, and you're not working in that. So if we really, really look at it and we really, really, you know, dig behind it, is you got to say, yes, I'm willing to learn something, because you committed for 4 years. What is 12 months could change your life, right? Because it was so funny, you know, because he had been tap dancing around it, and you spoke on this on one of your personal development in a private community. I think you spoke on something to the effect of, you got to decide you want to do it. Some people are really good at just showing up. And for a minute, that's what he did. He just showed up. You know, he was on the charts. He was doing trainings. He was doing things, but that's it. He just showed up. But he made a decision one day and he said, you know what? I'm about to take this seriously. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it's funny because I had did a call or something and I spoke to it. And he's like, next year, I'm going to have this accomplishment, right? And 12 months. And it was so crazy because I remember posting it on Facebook, or I did something like that. And when I went back to the training, it was exactly 12 months to the day that he became a 6-figure trader.
Wow. Well, so Mr. Green, I mean, I hear your presentation all the time, and tell us a little bit more about the company, because not only the company does that. They also do real estate training and also credit. You know, I hear guys out here all the time. People be sending me stuff, and I see on social media these guys talking about, man, for a package, my package costs this, and I'll show you how to set up your credit, and then you'll get your business funding, and then you have all this money coming in. And I'm thinking, I'm sure the way the credit is set up here, where a person can learn that all of that is in that package. But the way these young guys out here talking, boy, they make it seem like you're gonna turn this thing up in a minute, and and people jump on it, not knowing that it's a lot of other companies that a lot of places offer other things like that. So talk a little bit about the credit and the real estate.
What I'll do is talk more high level, Tony.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Why that's
Why
important.
okay.
And then I'll let Ms. Dyer, Mr. Rogers get more into the weeds about how BYOB brings it to the marketplace. One of the things that we like to say is that we show you how to make the money. Then we're going to show you how to get dressed up properly, which of course is through credit. Then we're going to show you exactly what to do with the money. And the reason we take that path is because a lot of people don't know how to make the money first and foremost. And so when you're able to go into a $7.5 trillion industry every single day and understand how the foreign exchange market works, understand that you can make money as the market goes up, as the market goes down. Once you start understanding that every single day, you literally have the ability to take out 1%, 2%, 3% or more per day. That's the key. How do you make money without trading time for money, where you just have your money working for you? So that's the one thing, is you got to get to a point where you're able to make some passive income. And that's the first thing that we do with the BYOB Trading Academy. Then the next thing we do is show you how to get dressed up properly. And the reason that's important, one, is because for your personal credit reasons, you need to understand that having good credit is based on, or having good credit is based on how much you pay to borrow money. That's what this whole thing is about. You have to start knowing how to leverage yourself. And everybody who's been successful, made billions and millions of dollars, they know how to leverage themselves appropriately, but most of us don't. Most of our people in our community, they don't. So what we do is we don't care about our credit, but we'll go somewhere and we'll buy the big screen TV, or we'll go somewhere and we'll, get the furniture and put it on layaway. We've almost been around layaway our entire lives, right? Yeah. And that's a problem, because we always tend to think, as long as I can do whatever I can to get that item, I don't care how much I have to pay on the back end, down the line. And that's a problem. A lot of people have terrible credit scores, and they go and they get cars they can't afford. They eventually get in houses that they can't afford. And so by the time they pay off that thing, and they almost never pay off the house, but by the time they pay off, let's say, the car, they've almost bought 2 cars, because the credit was so bad, they were not dressed up properly. Now that's personal credit. Now you're talking about business credit. A lot of times people call themselves having a business, and they're using their personal social security number, or they're using their personal information to try to run their business. But when you understand business credit, it really is what America is made off of, right? Not to have to fight today about what party does what they do, but there's a party out there. I will give it credit. There's a party out there that is pro-entrepreneurship, that is pro-business. And see, the reason why is because they give credit 476 deductions you can have whenever you have a home-based business specifically. 476 tax deductions you get by having the proper business. So now if you got a business, you have it structured properly, now you can get funding. Now you can use other people's money to help make your business work and make it run. And then the last thing is 90% of people who become millionaires, 90% of millionaires in America, they literally have real estate as a part of their portfolio. So it just makes sense. If you live in a country where people are doing something and they've been successful doing it, why don't you do it as well? So that's why, to me, the major three prongs, I'll say there's more prongs that we have and are growing every single day. But the major three prongs is the trading academy, show you how to make the money, show you how to get dressed up properly with your personal credit or business credit, and then show you exactly what to do with the money through real estate. And then last but not least, we're not talking about it right now, but of course it's trust. Show you how to protect your money, how to properly protect your money so that you control everything, but you own nothing. Control everything, but own nothing. And that's the process through which the BYOB movement works. Now, like I said, the devil is in the details as far as how the BYOB movement does it, but that's the reason why those prongs, because that's true wealth. When you're talking about a wealth services company, that's the way in which we teach and educate people on wealth. Colleges, universities, most places, as Ms. Dyer was talking earlier, they teach you how to work for someone else. No one is ever teaching us how to create wealth. And that's only because the educational system was created that way. So I don't like to knock. That's not my testimony, right? I don't knock colleges and university. I just want people to know the reason you went there is because somebody was giving you a little bit more knowledge so that you don't necessarily have to work with your hands. You can work with your head. That's really what college is, right? Because that's supposed to be the differentiator, right? You literally are typically working in an office space, white collar, versus working outside, being a blue collar worker. And that's the difference. But you're still doing the same thing. So the same way you got your plumbers, electricians, carpenters, the same way you got your chefs in kitchens, etc. And sometimes people say, oh my God, no, I went ahead and got my degree. Well, your degree just brought you inside the building.
Yeah.
Right? So your degree just taught you how to work for someone else, but nobody ever teaches you how to create wealth. And that's why typically we just pass that same information on to our kids, how to go and get a good job, how to interview, how to make the resume look good, how to do these things to kind of prop yourself up. But it's not teaching you what we like to call and refer to as wealth building skills. And that's the difference with the BYOB movement.
Wow. And I know you've been in the university, industry and university workforce for a long time, and so that's business. Yeah, that's big business. Yeah, the workforce is big business. Yeah. Let me ask this question. I'm gonna ask Gerald or Tasha. Are you willing to step out on a limb and say that a kid would come out better 12 months or 24 months studying foreign exchange, Forex trading than 4 years in the college? I'm talking about financially.
Let me bring some clarity because I want to bring, because I was definitely not knocking the education system. I got 2 master's degrees. I'm a demonstrated senior logistician. I got all sorts of titles and accolades behind my name. So I do believe education is very important. But what I want to bring clarity to is that when I say that we go, because the expectation is college. I was actually the Jacksonville recruiting commander here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I had 7 Army recruiting stations that I was in charge of in this whole area. And I interacted with the high schools. I interacted with all of the kids I spoke at the high schools. I interacted with members of the community, the school board. I did all of those things, right? And so when I say bring clarity, is because the goal is college, not a skill set. College is a business, and that's what I think most people miss. All my kids, my niece and nephew, colleges, I believe in it, right? But at the same time, I believe more in education. So if you're learning a trade out the building or something in the building, it's about education. And the reason why that failure rate is there, because most people don't understand that college is a business. They recruit as well. We hear, I don't want to recruit. I don't want to this. Well, guess what? Direct sales, somebody recruited you to that school. It's recruiting happening right now on this broadcast when we're screaming, oh, FAMU and this and this and that, or oh, Jackson State, right? All of that is recruiting, or there are people that get paid with the universities to make it more attractive and also to go out and speak with athletes and all of those things. So let me bring clarity to that in itself, right? But then, and matter of fact, you look behind me and say recruiting. I was a recruiting commander. So all of that happens, but I say that, as far as what's available, you would come out wealthy. You would come out more financially stable, feasible, what you want from a skill set. And I say that from learning the skill set of trading, because there are limitations on what you can earn with a degree, right? Because you are working for someone else's company. There's a freedom in entrepreneurship. There is a free, now you got to work. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't come easy, because the mindset and what we're taught is going into the university. What we're taught is going into that workplace. We're taught, just like you said, we're taught how to make a resume. So you're taught to sell yourself, right? You're taught to make yourself presentable to somebody else, that they will pick you over somebody else. We're taught to do those, that we're taught to negotiate for pay, because at the end of the day, every company has a bottom line number that they have to make in order to pay you. And they're not going to pay you more. They're never going to pay you more than what they can pay you, or, where they're not receiving something on the other end. And that's what people are missing. So even if you have a good paying job where you're earning six figures or what have you, what a lot of people consider a good job or anything, there's still a limitation and a cap. Working for the government, there was a cap, right? There's always a cap on the pay, because you can't go make any more money, and they'll even stop you from working overtime. So learning the skill set where the money is unlimited, right? Where you can make as much as you want, but you have to be willing to learn the skill set. The same way you were willing to learn the skill set that got you the degree you were getting, but you're capped on your income. But when I have this skill set, then, or I'm in that space and I'm building a business this way, it's unlimited. The limitations are only the ones that I put in place.
Wow. Okay. So I know Mr. Rogers has something to say. I know he so I can see him chomping at the bit. So go ahead.
Well, the question was, am I? Yes, I will stand on the tip of the limb, right? Right, because when you think about being able to recession-proof your life, that's what this skill set represents. And if you're willing to put the work in, there's no limitations to that, because it's $7.5 trillion a day, right? So here's a crazy number. If you and I, all of us collectively on this show today, if you and I spent $60 a minute, it would take all of us 31,666 years to exhaust $1 trillion, and that's on an annual basis. So there's no limit to money. So this skill set, when you think about it, you go through a 4-year degree process under the pretense that you follow the curriculum, you meet with your advisor, and then someone sits behind a desk based on the bottom line, as Ms. Dyer alluded to, and is going to determine how well you take care of your family. I'm of the opinion that I don't want anybody to have that type of control. And in most cases, you go through that process, and it's all about if that person likes you or not. It has very seldom does it have to do with the skill set. It's all about the relationship. So if we're going to help people understand how to become economically empowered, this is the message that now we should be teaching, because there was a time frame when that message of culturally going to college was a part of that process, but that message is now antiquated. So the reality is the skill set is of a necessity. Right. There's a more excellent way, and this is the way to be self-sufficient, change your income, change your neighborhood, change your community, change your place of fellowship. So once you put it in here, nobody can take it away from you. And that's the beautiful part about learning this skill set.
Wow. Yeah, because I was going to kind of do a little pushback with Ms. Dyer there about, so are you saying a person goes to college and pay 150 grand, 200 grand for the 4 years or whatever they pay, and then they come out, then they learn this trade? It's like, why even do that? I mean, learn this skill set why even do that if you know a person can learn this skill set and win in life, and you know in college that 85% of them are going to wind up doing whatever. You know, I see a lot of people, UPS drivers, you can go straight to UPS and work there. You don't have to,
But
you know,
it's not necessarily the issue is not it's the fact that people don't have, you got to start with the end in mind, right? You got to start, you know, I've always known it as a military decision-making processes. You'll hear Gerald talk about the end in mind. The reality is people do things based on where they are and not where they want to be, you know? And so when you looking at, I do believe like everybody has a calling and a purpose in life, right? You know, even I do like my degree is I have a business degree, and then I have a degree in logistics and human resource management, right? So and leadership. So I have a master's in leadership and HR and things. So and logistics. So when you look at it, that helps me even in this space. You know what I mean? It helps me. So if you know why you're going to school, if you know why you're getting a degree, if you know what your calling in life is and what you want, see, trading is a vehicle. It's not the destination. It's a vehicle. It is a vehicle to help you launch. Just like I want to touch on the products too, because the way we don't just offer business credit. We don't just offer, you know, personal credit. We're always offering things, and it's to really help with the education aspect of it. And so we've tailored and shifted some of our products because we're always thinking about the customer. We're always thinking about that person that's wanting more, right? We're always want to put people in a winning position. And so even our personal credit now is a do-it-yourself, because you can go to, I'm not going to name a company, but you can go to those big companies and those well-known companies. They're not telling you what to do. They're not, you know, when I'm trying to fix my credit or repair, it is really not a fix my credit, is the education and the legality behind it is, I want to dispute items that might be incorrectly reported, or, you know, things of that nature. And they're not helping you. They cannot legally help you unless you have an attorney. So you get to do it yourself now for free. That's one of our products. The only thing is you have to purchase your credit reports, because we as our company cannot see your credit report. So you have to purchase your credit report, you know. And in doing so, then you get to dispute those items. So the only thing you're paying for is those credit, and you can mail it yourself, or you can pay us to mail it for you, right? And so that's a shift, and that's $39 a month. You know, that's not bad at all. And so that's a big difference. And even with our business credit, businesses get to get a free scan. And I know individuals that have actually already scanned through the system. We're actually about to really do a huge release on it. But I know individuals that's already scanned through the product, and they're like, wow, they would have never purchased business credit. They would have never done that. But because it was so eye-opening, and success, a lot of our success, you know, our lack of success is in our ignorance. You know what I mean? So it's because they just don't know. And so you're asking, why won't somebody do this, or why won't that happen, or why? Well, a lot of people just don't know, or they're misunderstood. They misunderstand why they even went to school to begin with. Why did you go to college? Was it to pledge, or was it to hang out, or was it because you were ready to get out of mama house? That's not the answer. It should be the destiny. If I want to be a doctor, I have to go get that degree. If I know I want to work with my hands, if I want to be out the building and not in the building, then I know I need a trade, right? So while you're there, but the goal has always been college. Think about what we tell kids as when they're young. Oh, you're going to college, but nobody ever talks about the why. That's why people fail at it, because the goal was college. And then when they get to college, what now?
Wow. Okay. So with your credit program and the business funding part of it, is it classes a person take, or is it information? I know when I talked to Mr. Rogers about it, he sent me a link, which I can actually post here, and the link was, you know, it was a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about credit, is it something that somebody else could be doing that you all are not doing, or you all have everything that
we got it on lock? We got this. No. So what it is you can take your business, right? There are key factors. Everything is driven by AI technology now. So it's good and it's like, right? But everything is driven by AI technology. And so there are factors that businesses use because they use the same stuff, right? The same technology, not the ones to make your pictures, but the technology, in the back. So there are key factors that they're looking for because a lot of decisions are automated. And so there are key things that they're looking for. And what happens, something as simple as I know a lot of people use a cell phone as a method of their business phone. I got a Google Voice. No, you need a business line, right? Or you don't need a Gmail, things that simple. Something like, does your EIN completely match, right? Your EIN matching your business name that you're using, right? All certain things that has to match up. So not gonna go through all of that, but a business owner understands. So, and some of them just don't know. And so what happens is you go through, you get the free scan. It scans your business by the information that you provide and what they can find out there. And then it gives you step by step. So you check this box, you're available for this type of funding because you want it separate than you. You want your business separate than your personal. And you want to be bankable. You want to have access to funding. You think about the pandemic. And, we heard a lot of things. And once again, I call it ignorance because people don't know. Oh, African Americans were significantly at the lower end of the spectrum of receiving funding or getting different things. And that's because most people only had a business set up with a business name and an EIN number. They didn't do anything else. And so it was not the fact that you were African American. It was not the fact because a computer don't know that. It was the simple fact that your business was not set up properly, but that comes from us not being properly educated on that. And so we just want to make a difference and help people understand that these things are out there and it's available to you. And when you run that scan, I had somebody do it this morning, ran the scan. And when he ran the scan, he hit on nothing. And he actually has a storefront business and everything else, but hit on nothing from being what's called bankable, where you can qualify for grants and loans and the different programs and the different things that's out there. And so we have two different tracks that if you decide you want, now there are going to be resources in there that, hey, that's all, you don't have to pay anything, where you can go, okay, let me check this. Let me go get my virtual office. Let me do this. Let me get some of these resources set up. But then if you want to run through the system to make it official, you can do it virtually, or you can pay another $500 and you can actually work with a coach that is going to assist you right through that process. And so the beautiful thing is, you're eligible for funding up front, and that funding can help resource that, which is going to put you in a position to, really end it for just $500 extra to work with a coach. So it's 3 tracks you could work from. 1, limited resources where you pay nothing. And then 1, you do it all virtually. And then the third one is with the coach.
Wow. So BYOB has everything, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said. We got you covered.
So Marvin, I'm going to bring that question to you again. I don't think I brought it to you, but I brought it with everything everything you know about this business, everything you know about colleges. You've been in the workforce for years with them. And let's say your child didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer or attorney. Would you pay the $150,000 or the $100,000 or whatever it costs to send them to school now, if they could go get a skill set like this?
I don't think it's either or. I think that's the difference. I think it's almost like, would you homeschool your kid, right? So there's value in homeschooling your kid through high school because there's an attention to detail that you get. There's some things that you don't necessarily have to worry about what grade your child is in, whether they're in 9th grade, so they only can learn this, where they might already be ready for the 11th grade math or the 11th grade lesson, so to speak. And so that's what homeschooling does. It gives you the ability to hone in on something in such a way that you can kind of bring out that extra level of attention to detail, that extra ability to kind of get the best out of your child. But the one thing that I think that you miss out on is some of those social skills that you get, those what we call really life skills that you get. The 2 things you're going to do for the rest of your life that nobody teaches you is what to do with money, which of course what we're talking about, but 2, how to interact with a significant other, or in this case, other people. So I think the things that you do get, the networking skills, the people that we know, even if you're trying to market to somebody, you're trying to recruit somebody, well, what's your circle, who you going to recruit to, right? So it's almost like saying, technically speaking, you can be a Christian and not go to church. But typically most Christians don't say don't go to church. So that's why I say it's not either or, because yes, you can be a good Christian and you can do all the things that God wants you to do. You can know the word that you need to know. But most people, and I would assume that the people on the platform with me as well, they would never say don't go to church, right? So that's why I say I don't think college is something that you would say don't go to college. Now, when you start talking about spending $150,000, I think you might need to find a neighborhood that fits for you better in terms of, what you're going to spend. But I think the networking, I think the relationships, I think, knowing the people from different walks of life and where they come from, those are things I never would have been able to get had I just stayed in my own cocoon in Chicago and went into a room and I just said, hey, you know what? I know how to trade now. So I know how to make a lot of money, but I don't know how to communicate with people. I don't know how to meet people where they are. I don't know this gentleman from Tampa, Florida. I don't know what it is to be from Duval County. I don't know what it is to live in Louisiana, what you go through living in Louisiana or growing up in Mississippi, California. I just think about all the people that I met and those type of things. That's to me the value that you get from from going to college. But to answer your question in regards to learning the skill set, what the skill set does, having the ability to control your own finances, what comes into your household, what you're able to do now and what you're able to do later is something that is unmatched. Is really irreplaceable, right? And like Mr. Rogers said, you shouldn't have to sit on the other side of a desk and let somebody tell you whether you can work for them. Let somebody tell you how much they can pay you. Let somebody tell you where you can go on vacation. Let somebody tell you where you can live. Let somebody tell you the type of kids, the type of things that you can do for your kids and your family, for your parents, if your parents are older, So those are the things I'm completely on board with that part of it. But I just think that we have to put it into the proper context that we're still growing. We're still learning at 18 years old. And for those 4 years, 5 years that you're kind of going through that process, understand what it is you're really, really doing. You're not necessarily in that environment to make money. You really are learning some information that's going to allow you to work for someone else. But the social skill that you need to get and how to deal with people from all walks of life and all the stuff that goes with that. I mean, people kind of take jabs at frats and sororities and band members at our schools. I mean, but there's so much that even goes into that, man. And so, I just think that, that's a big part of the experience. And that experience is something that I, personally, I don't regret, and I would want my kids to be able to have access to.
Okay. So go ahead.
I was going to say that I did enjoy my college experience. I definitely agree with Coach Green as far as that's concerned. But my testimony is my daughter did do that. She literally, but I will say what I've always done with my children is we talk about the result. Like, what do you want out of life? Like, what is it you desire? And so we were actually planning doing her college application. We were actually filling out her dorm, picking her dorm room. And in that moment, she said, Mom, I'm not going to go. And I said, wait, what you mean you're not going to college? And she said, I'm not going. She said, I'll go if you make me go. But if I go, I'm just going to waste your money. And that was a very easy decision.
Wow.
She said, I'm going to waste your money. That was a very easy decision. And so, but what we did is we communicated, we started talking about life and her desires and different things and what she wanted. And so what she ultimately did, and this is where we have to understand everybody's not a college kid and everybody's not, because it's not a bad thing, it's like I say, I've done it and I enjoyed it, but that was not her journey. And so what she ultimately ended up doing is she joined the military for 3 years to kind of get that experience and figure a few things out. When she came out of the military, she actually she got a really good job in her early 20s, but she has always been somebody who's hands-on. She loves the beauty industry. Like, she's always been very artistic and creative. And so she knew she wanted to go to school. And so she didn't want to spend my money to go to college. That's why she wanted to get the college fund and the college, and so she went back, she became an esthetician, she's done all of these things. And now she actually did go back and got her degree, because that business degree is helping her with her business. So she knew what she wanted from the business of college, and it's helping her with what she's doing. But she actually owns a very successful shop here in Jacksonville, Florida, and is actually in the process of opening another one. And then she has another business where she sells different products and things to people. So she actually is running 2 businesses that she is earning residual income off of, because people were in there working. She doesn't have to be there. And, as a mom, she doesn't have to put her child in daycare. She doesn't have to do those things. And she does have some hours where she does work when she shows up, but she doesn't have to be there to generate income. And so she's made it work for her. And now she is in the process of opening a new shop to do the same thing somewhere else. So, it's just, we gotta let them find their path, but also make them understand money in the process. Because if we're going to create that shift, my whole point behind that is, if we're going to make a shift, it's not going to be our personal testimony. It's not going to be our personal story, but it's going to be helping other people understand where they can also have a shift, where they can also have other options. Because a lot of people are where they are because they feel that they don't have any options. And so when people understand they have options, they make different decisions.
All right. So let me ask you this, Mr. Rogers. I hear people tell me, that Forex stuff is kind of old now. Nobody wants to do that anymore. They've done that. Why would a person say that? You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, people have done that now. And so I'm like, and hasn't Forex been around how long?
500 years.
Yeah. So
actually,
they say
actually longer than that, but the first official bank. So that means it was around before they made it specifically targeted for that.
Right. So when they say that, why would somebody say that? What is that?
Well, I think everybody has alluded to it is the fact that they don't know what they don't know. Because had they done it, they would still be doing it. So what they did was they got started with something that they didn't have an understanding of the end result. So they just need to be reintroduced to the end result. Because if they're not willing to do it, then psychologically what they're saying is that they don't have a need to do what their bank is doing. So that means they have no trust in the banking system. Because if the banks are trading your money every single day, I'm just of the opinion that it makes sense for you to learn to do exactly what the banks are doing. Simple and easy.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that once a person learns to trade on the foreign exchange, that's a skill like riding a bike. You will have that forever. It means you can always sit down at a computer and make money. You can always be, and the foreign exchange is not going anywhere, right? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's been here, 500 years, so it's not going anywhere. So you can sit down and always make money once you learn that skill.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's all I need.
You can absolutely recession-proof your life forever when you learn this skill.
All right. So if a person says, okay, you got me. I want to learn how to trade. I want to do this. So they start with you guys. What is the process every day that they do to learn this? And what would you tell a person? How long would it take for them to really learn? I know you can't really say for sure because it's different people. But what do people come to their house and train them? Or what exactly happens with that?
So
Well, first, I'm gonna tell them to get in. First, they're gonna join the community. Will be connection. They're gonna be plugged in our wealth community with some like-minded people, and they're gonna sign up for some personal development because, you know, and our educators actually promote that because we start with the mindset, right? First, you got to believe you can do it, right? You got to believe you can do it, and you have to believe that you can be successful. But I would tell anybody, you know, 12 months can change your life. You know, if you make a 12-month commitment, I'm not telling you that everybody's going to be a 6-figure trader in 6 months, right? It's a continuous learning process. It's a continuous journey. But what I do know is if you show up for yourself, you know, you make those sacrifices, you do those things and I'm going to say it's like the gym, right? That can I tell somebody they're going to lose 50 pounds in 6 months or 12 months or what have you? I can't tell you that. And so that's why I say it's a lot like that. But I will tell you, will see a difference. You will see a shift. You will see a change. You will see improvement. You will see finances, right? You will see that. But everybody's different. But then also, what are you doing behind the scenes? Because we have calls 6 out of 7 days a week that you can plug into. And it's, you know, it's not a lot. I've heard, oh, that's a lot. No, we want to make sure that there is absolutely no excuse that you're not successful. Like your success is on you. You got to show up. So if I go to the gym and then I come home or stop at McDonald's on the way home, I'm not feeding myself what I need to feed myself for success. So I can't expect the results. So if you get on a call, but you don't have that laptop open, if you get on a call or you're not taking notes, you know, that's you're setting yourself up, right? So I can't say, that's why I say it's like the gym. I can't tell you, oh, you'll earn this much in this amount of time, but you will really understand how it works and how money works. And we're going to help you with that application process. And to your point, because we set this up very specifically, to your point about when people say, oh, such and such, because people they tried this, they did this, they know somebody who knows somebody who knew somebody, they got involved for the wrong reasons and wasn't focused on learning. But one of the things that we made sure that we've done is the beginning, the basics, right? I can be talking about market structure. I'm like an advanced, if I'm teaching, it's an advanced analysis type class. But you're not going to be able to truly understand what I'm doing if you don't understand the basics. So we've made it our business to have a heavy focus on the basics, to have a heavy focus on that beginning implementation, to where, because that is where most people, where it makes or breaks them, where they feel like they can. So we have a very hands-on academy with our educators that really make that difference and make that happen for individuals. And they put their blood, sweat, and tears, and they are so passionate and committed to making sure that you all, the learners, the ones learning, are educated properly, and they take their time and walk through that process. And right now I got some that's in training with me because they want to have a study hall type session, you know, to where that people can come in and ask questions in classes. And matter of fact, I think you're about to go through that yourself, you know, to really help people get up and running and on the ball. So it's very important. And that's what makes us different is really that beginning, like making sure you have it. That's what really makes us different, is we understand you can go through all the education, but it's the application. And we want to help you with that application.
Right. And you know, I have committed to learn it. I hate to say that publicly, but I got to put myself out there now. So I'm committed to learn it, and I'm gonna be in the classes, and that's what I was, you know,
that's the true answer to your question.
Yes, yeah. Break that down.
That's the true answer to your question, though, right?
What's that?
It's personal responsibility, right? And so it's not about if you showed up to the environment, right, and you're willing to participate and be a part of your own personal rescue, then you're going to experience the results that you desire.
I gotta say it.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
He was in the chat this morning. He was answering questions this morning. He was.
Yeah, I was. I was actually in the chat this morning. And I was answering the questions that he was teaching, and I was getting a little bit of it. That's why, you know what I'm saying. So
it's been a week.
I know.
But here's the easy part about that too, Tony. It's like when you have a collegiate experience, right? They provide the curriculum, they give you a syllabus, and they let you know your class schedule, right? And we still at that point have to make a choice to show up to class. And when we're in class, not just be there, but be present in class. So the question is never about how long it's going to take. It's about, are you committed to absorbing the process? And if you need extra help, guess what? Our educators are there to assist you. So it's an easy process, but it all is going to coincide with what do you find important. So those mysterious questions that we're trying to ask, if you show up to the class yourself, then it's going to be easy to be able to answer those questions. Because don't show up just on test day and you haven't been to class, you haven't studied the material.
Right.
You know,
But any education, realistically, because I know I might have a degree in 4 years if I take these classes and pass them, but do you have a job in 4 years? Does that guarantee you a position? Does that guarantee you income? It doesn't. I still have to sell myself. I still have to, I still have to do some research. I still have to. So there's no, even if everybody that walks off the college campus walks off successful, right? Let's just say everybody goes out and gets a job, but everybody's going to get it at a different time. Everybody's going to get it. Nobody's going to be at the same place. Everybody's learning journey is going to be different. Some people are going to graduate in 3 years. Some is going to take 5, right? Some people are going to be on the honor roll. Some people are going to need a tutor. That's just the human nature of learning. So, I don't ever want to make a false guarantee that, oh, you got this. It's only, so when we tell you a 12-month commitment, I'm telling you something in your life is going to change with them 12 months, whether you are actively trading and being profitable and successful, or you just really have a different concept and understanding of what's out there. And now you're no longer blinded and information is no longer hidden in plain sight. So if I can't ask FAM and Clark and Jackson State, if I can't ask them the question of, if I come to this college, when will I get a job, right? Where am I going to be working? Then it's not fair to tell me, ask us, or, how much money and when will I start making X amount of dollars?
Right. You're right. Mr. Green, what do you say? I know you want to give an input on some of the stuff we were talking about. What are you saying?
They said it all.
Okay. Cool. I know you got a dip. I want to, and boy, we already at the time, man. We over the time. And I'm just getting started.
Is good.
Yeah, you're right.
No, I do want to say this, though, because I think it's important. It's 2 ways you make money with the BYOB movement. One of the ways, of course, we're talking about how we, how we teach the skill set, and how you learn the skill set. And that's very important. So let's be clear that that's the most important. And I think that when we talk about, because there'll be people who look at this and they'll say, oh, a network marketing opportunity, affiliate marketing opportunity, et cetera. But I think one of the things that people need to understand that allows people to be successful in this particular space is that you don't necessarily have to be someone, let's be clear, to be a big recruiter. And that's something that typically sometimes get missed, right? Because, obviously, Tony, you've been in the industry for a long time. Gerald has as well, 20 plus, 25 plus years. And we know that there's a lot of people who, as we like to say, they can eat, but they eat because they recruit well, right? And so when you recruit well, then, of course, it's almost like you're just known as a good recruiter. But what about the person who doesn't necessarily recruit, who wants to take the time and say, you know what, I want to change my financial situation. I've been exposed to this space for so many years, but I can't do what them guys do. I can't do what those ladies do. I can't talk like that. I can't present like that. But to be able to go and learn a skill set, and you can control the exact same financially, you can make the exact same money because you have an education. I think that's different. So I know we're doing a lot of comparison with colleges and this skill set, but I also want to say for people who are in this industry, who have been in this industry for a long time, and they haven't found the success that they've been looking for, why not join a movement that gives you a skill set, that gives you an education where you literally can make money just as if you were one of the quote unquote big time recruiters. And I think that's something that we should also just make sure that people leave here with, is that there's a way to to benefit for those who are looking for an opportunity, and they say, oh, is this one of those things? And no, it's not one of those things, because this is all about education. This is all about making sure that you succeed personally. And of course, as you succeed, there'll be some people that you want to take on a journey with you. And that's the difference, right? You first decide that you want to go on a journey, and then you decide, you know, how many people do you want to share the journey with? How many people do you want to share this thing with as well? And so I think that's just something I want to add. And you kind of hit it on it earlier. We talked about the 5-year-old, the 9-year-old. We talked about the 21-year-old, 23-year-old. We talked about the 84-year-old, 87-year-old individuals who are learning a skill set. And I mean, I literally have seen people in organizations who are making, you know, as we know, $30,000 a month, $20,000 a month. And people don't even think about the fact that once you start learning how to multiply money for yourself, that literally, when they talk about no cap, when Mr. Rogers said earlier, having no cap on your financial situation, that's pretty big as well, because everybody that we've always heard who made that kind of money, they were always in early, right? We always he got in early. He got in early. Or he know a lot of people. He brought his team over with him. Right. And stuff. You don't necessarily have to worry about that here, because we're true customer-based company. And that's what most of these companies were always put in place for, so that they could know how to get customers. That was the whole purpose of Amway, right? You don't have to go to the store and get your soaps and your lotions and stuff like that. You literally can become a customer and get it yourself, right? And so nowadays we've moved away from that. Nobody cares about what the product is. They just care about getting people who on this auto ship program, and everybody got all this stuff in their garage, you know, and everybody just kind of making money because a lot of people got stuff in their garage, and you just eventually you kind of run out until you know, until that go bad, and then you go to another complaint, another complaint. But here you can find a home, because once you learn this skill set, it's really nowhere else for you to go. And this will make more sense for you to naturally recruit people here, because you'll realize that, guess what? I did it. I learned it. You can learn it. And you know what? This is a good place to have a good home here. So I think that's imperative as well.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
It's the thing. It's the thing. It's the thing. No, but I know we kind of go, but I gotta say thank you for bringing that back up. Like, thank you for mentioning that, because I do want to say, like, because we've all mentioned the word direct sales or affiliate marketing. I do want to make it known that the way we do it is different, because, you know, just kind of like to what he was just saying, like, you got to get 12 people. You got to do this. You got to get all these people. You're going to benefit off of what you do specifically. And, you know, it's none of those minimum requirements or maximum requirements and all of this stuff, you know, whatever, when you share this information, you know, because we do want people sharing the information. We want you to share the information. We want people to know about BYOB University, BYOB Movement Worldwide, BYOB Wealth Community, our connection, right? We want people to know about what we're offering. But at the end of the day, you know, we're not going to penalize you because you didn't know 12 people as opposed to I only know 3. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's we wanted to make sure it's all about the people for us. And that's that we wanted to make sure that was there.
You know, I would be remiss if I don't talk about this, but because Marvin actually introduced me to Gerald, and we talked for a while, and Gerald knew my background about all the personal development training I had been doing. And that was the thing that he asked me, do this for the company. So, you know, we have our own private club, our own private personal development page where anybody can join. Now I'll post that and let you know that anybody can join, where we're on there. I'm on there maybe twice a day or maybe 3 times a day, where we're training on personal development, because he feels like, or you all feel like, that a person needs that. And I believe that even to learn to do anything, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to do the personal development. And I got, 30 years of that, allows me to come on there and teach those concepts and methods, and just talk about, mindset and mental toughness and all those things that I love to talk about. So I'm on there. But my point is, just tell us how you feel about it, because you're the one that kind of made me really think about, doing it.
Well, first of all, when you are connected with excellence, and somebody who exemplifies that, who has, you know, an integrity in the marketplace of really wanting to serve and see people win. You know, there's not many people that's at that top echelon like yourself. And then I have been able to navigate through where I am in life because of personal development. And that's one of the things that is most important because, and you say it quite often, program, reprogram. So and that's the difference when it comes to anyone having any level of success. It's all about what they're willing to discard based on their past experiences. And your approach, is very inviting, filled with humor, but at the same time, you're absolutely serious about challenging people to change the way they think. And because of that delivery, it makes it individuals look in the mirror, as Michael Jackson would say, so often when we look at circumstances of where we are and coming to that point of recognizing that, we will always be the common denominator of what happens favorably or not favorably. And I think how you have challenged even the community that we're establishing, it has already made a difference, even in the midst of us being in a 30-day mental fast. So when the mind is clear, then you can learn any skill set. So this skill set is not difficult, it's just different. But what makes it challenging for many people is because they have not taken the time to work on themselves. And the more we're willing to work on us, then whatever we decide to engage in, it's gonna be that much easier. And so I'm excited to be able to know that we have someone like yourself who has not only the reputation in the marketplace, but the integrity in the marketplace. And I'm totally confident between our personal development element, our educators that we have teaching you the skill set. If you come with an open mind that you want to win, stay committed to our 12-month wealth challenge. I know 12 months from now, you will be a different person. You would not be the same person that you came into this process. And then you're going to have the ability to expand even more. So anybody who's remotely considering changing their life, they need to be sitting at the feet of a Mr. Tony Fleming regarding our personal development.
Wow. Thank you, sir. And again, like we said, anybody can join. We're going to put the information. It's anybody. You don't have to be a part, but I think once you, it's bylbconnection.com. And you'll see that on there. But I got to ask this last question. This is it. And I always ask everybody this question, and you got to answer it. I'm going to start with Mr. Green first. Who's the GOAT, LeBron or Michael Jordan?
Oh, that's easy. That's Michael Jordan. It's not even close. It's not even close. But I will say this, because I know you editing all this stuff together. And I want to at least for proper edification of the people that are here. I'm excited to just even be a part of what's happening right now. But I think you have to give credit where it's due. To have two founders who are about people over profits, but in order to have to be a part of a movement that has two founders that are passionate about people, two founders that are passionate about their faith, and two founders who I think also, when you talk about, a lot of times people get involved in opportunities for money, right? We skirt around everything else, but every presentation you ever seen over the last, even the one I saw, like I told you, all that lotions and potions and stuff was good, but it didn't make sense to me until they started talking about 642 gonna get me this much money per month. So we're at a space now where you're getting into wealth services. If we're gonna get involved in opportunities like this for money, why not talk about money? I think that's the key with the BYOB movement. And BYOB, the Be Your Own Bank, it really stands for everything that you do, right? Because everything that's even works with a bank is all about what you put in. You only can get out based on what you put in. So there's only so many deposits and deposits and debits that you can make before you get your credits out. Being a former accounting major, those debits and credits and how that whole piece works. So everything that you do, that goes to your mental well-being, that go to your financial well-being, that even go to your physical well-being, right? Like Ms. Diet said earlier, even be your own bank should be the way in which you work out, right? What are you putting in? Because that also dictates what you get out. And then I think to have you on board in terms of the personal development piece, and I said this, so I want to just definitely get, take credit for it when I talked to Mr. To Mr. Rogers about it, was that this was the perfect match. But the reason it was the perfect match, because I think for many years, you can talk to people, but when people are moving companies all the time or they're trying to find it, what people don't like to do, they're scared of, is what? Getting in front of a crowd talking. Mm-hmm. And this happens to be an opportunity where, ironically, that's not what's going to determine your success. What's going to determine your success is how you are internally. So this is the first opportunity, in my opinion, in the history of mankind, where the success comes internally first. So here you have personal development being how you make yourself better. And then you have the vehicle, the skill set, how you make yourself learn a skill set to make you better. It's almost like it's the win-win, right? Because be your own bank is about skill set. Personal development is about mindset. And when you have mindset and skill set, then you can't lose. And so I just want to give kudos to the three of you who are champions in this space, Mr. Gerald D. Rogers, Ms. Tasha M. Dyer, and Mr. Tony Fleming, a.k.a. I don't know what he's calling himself today, but a.k.a. whatever he is today. What you guys are doing and what you guys are going to be doing for the movement, the Be Your Own Bank movement, is nothing like we've ever seen before. And that's the reason why this is $1 trillion brand that's going to impact and financially educate and impact 2 million families worldwide. So,
all right. So let's give Ms. Dyer a closing statement, and also you, Mr. Rogers, and then the GOAT after that. So y'all give your closing statement, and then tell me who's the GOAT.
Well, the GOAT is easy because I don't watch basketball, but I know my
Okay.
that's the easy.
Okay.
I do football, not basketball. So,
all right. Okay.
But as far as my closing statement, the reality is all of us need to do this. We all need to, when you look at from skill sets to opportunities to different things that's out there, and I've heard, we mentioning companies and doing different things, but the reality is your success is based on the success of that company. Right? If you have a skill set, nobody can ever take that away from you, which is why we put so much emphasis on education. So once you're educated, no matter what we do, you are set for life. It's your skill set. You own it. It goes with you, and so that's what the difference is. That's why this is so important. And then you'll never be connected to a group of people. And I'm humbly saying it, but I mean it so much, that really care about the people. We didn't do this for us. We didn't do this for our success and our wealth and we did this to create opportunity. We did this to give individuals an opportunity to really just have a shift in their life. And that's really what this is all about, because that's all some people need is an opportunity. We did this, to make sure people can change their legacy, to have a different mindset and a whole different perspective. That's what this movement is all about. And that's why we say you can be your own bank, right? You really can. You can create your own destiny. You can create your own legacy. You can create your own income, and you deserve it. I don't know what success looks like for you, but I know you deserve it. So if you dig back deep to like when we were children and we used to always say, oh, I want this out of life and I want that. But then when you got older, people started telling you life happened and you can't do it. Well, you can do it. I need y'all to dream again. I need you to dig deep. I need you to, what are those things you desire, and let the vehicle of financial freedom, financial relief, and financial freedom take you to your destination.
All right. Mr. Rogers, close us out.
Well, once again, is absolutely, the greatest asset that any of us could have is the people that God allows us to be connected to. So I'd say we are what we are because of the people that we attract. And I believe that this is the place that, we have made it our business, our purpose to help people believe in themselves. And I believe in each and every one of you having the opportunity to hear this information. And we are betting on you to be the best version of yourself. And so we've created an environment that no matter where you are, from John the janitor to Steve the CEO, this is a place where you becoming a part of this makes it even better. But I'm challenging everybody to walk with us on this 12-month wealth journey and make a decision and realize that there's greatness housed on the inside of you. And we're just here to stimulate it, to remind you and represent you to yourself, to make you go back to that childhood state where you believe that anything was possible. And no matter what challenges you may be facing right now, because you're cognitive, you're present, this is a vehicle that accelerate and help to ensure that your ladder is greater. And obviously, who is the GOAT? It's obviously Michael Jordan. In the comparison, that's just like asking, what's the greatest HBCU? Obviously, it's FAMU. It is obvious.
Oh, God.
It's obvious that the GOAT.
You just canceled your answer. You said that. It's hard to believe anything you say now. All right, sir. All right, guys. I appreciate it, man. We're going to sign off, and I thank you guys for coming on. All right?
All right.
Y'all have a good day. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.
Say it's okay. You are worth more than gold.